All right, we're recording now. This is a Q&A. So in order for me to A, I need you to Q. So if you do have questions, please submit them. Oh man, let's do right now questions about components one, and then I'll go into higher level questions like that one. Maybe I'll answer this while I'm waiting. Question is, what's the top technology that was on the list of things to potentially teach at Lambda that didn't make the cut? There's a lot of stuff that hasn't made the cut yet. Different frameworks, different databases. You know, we did just make the change from MongoDB to RDBMS or SQL database, and that's something that we evaluate all the time. That's something that we have a pulse on what's happening in the current trends in tech. That's something that we talk to leaders in tech about, what we should be teaching, things like that. And so I would say it really depends on what specific area you'd want to look into. But I'd say probably a top technology right now that we're not teaching, that if you're interested in more front-end stuff, I would say Vue.js is probably a really big one. I would say it's probably the top technology that we're not teaching right now. But we are teaching components, and we are teaching React, and we're teaching ways of working with front-end frameworks, so that picking up something like Vue is pretty simple once you're through with the program. Let's see. Should we be worried about figuring out this way of doing things on today's project, or is it okay to just understand the DOM way at this point? This way will come in handy a lot more down the road. So next week is going to be our project week, and then the week after that, we're going to start on React. And React does not use DOM bindings at all. React only uses this. So right now, for this specific project, it's fine if you're just using the DOM way, but on the next project, you'll be forced to use this. And the better you understand this keyword and that concept, especially going into next week and then going into React, the better you're going to be in React. My confusion mainly came when I was trying to access a CSS class or element from the DOM. Can you give me examples of how to do so? I'm maybe a little confused at your question. Are you talking about specifically about query selector, or are you trying to add or remove or toggle a CSS class? If you're trying to access the CSS itself from within the DOM, you cannot do so. But the other two ways, I can show you how. So toggling a CSS class with the DOM, let me pull up a code pen real quick. One moment. Share the screen. All right, make sure, can you all see, you can all see this code pen on the screen? Just give me a thumbs up in your screen. Cool. All right, so let's go div dot container. All right, we got a container class, and then we're going to say dot container has a say width of 100 pixels, height of 100 pixels, border of 1 pixel solid black. Okay, so there's a container right there, right? And we're going to say we have a class called red. And it just makes the background color red. Okay, so that class is not on this container yet. We're going to come over here into our JavaScript, and we are going to, and this is not necessarily pertaining to the newsfeed components assignment, but this is more just pertaining to DOM itself. So we're going to do container query selector, and we're just going to say div, because we don't care and just want the first one. And then we're going to say add event listener click e.target.class list. Remember, it's class list and toggle. And then we're just going to give it red. Okay, that's all it's going to do. And now it's toggling the class on and off. Okay. So class list is the name of the property on the whatever target it is. We could have written this, right? That should still work for us. Class list, and then the method is toggle. And so this is a tough one, and many of you may have run into this, especially when using class list, is it's not .red, right? We're adding or removing or toggling a class, and we give it the name of that class. It's not .class, it's just the class, okay? If I had .class on there, nothing's gonna work, right? If I have just the name of the class, and that goes to the same thing as something like this, it's not .red, it's just red or container, etc. It's not .container, it's just container. So there's a bit of confusion maybe because query selector takes a CSS style selector, whereas anything else essentially dealing with classes it just uses a string with the name of the class on it. All right, now I gotta view all responses. Give me one moment. Let's see. Okay. Can you show the difference in the lecture for ES5 versus ES6? Remember, I mean, if you're just talking about classes, so we can just we'll do this container class. So ES5 is element, and then we're going to say this element equals element, right? And then we're going to go new container document query selector container, and we could have done different, I'll break this out, make it a little more clear. Okay, and then we can go container prototype dot click. I have to think about this for a moment. How I would do this the ES5 way. Let's do it this way. We go this dot element dot add event listener, click. There we go. Function and we say this dot click handler. There we go, and then we go okay. Doesn't work. Let's see why. Yep, you are right. There we go. Nope, still doesn't work. All right. So what's the first thing we should do when we're debugging something like this? Any ideas? Console log, console log everything. Sure. Like especially right now. Let's make sure that we have our element, right? Console log the element. Oh, whoa, that just happened. Wrong shortcut on that one. Okay, so we have our element is correct. And then we are going to, let's console log our container now. Let's console log everything, like you said. Okay, we have a container with an element property. Prototype has a click handler on it. All right, so that's all working. Let's go console log in event listener. Add event listener, that looks good. Oh, click handler is not a function. It's been a while since I've used ES5 for this. How do I? It should work. This dot click handler, new container element. No, it's not going to be the target. It's not going to be the element. It's going to be the actual container. All right, let's see if I do this. It might be this. There it goes. Okay. My ES6 brain, I made it work by binding the this from this, right? If we were using the this from the function, it was going to be the element itself. But since I used a arrow function, the this actually is the instance of container. So yeah, it is ES6 now. So that's how I, yes, not using ES6 classes though. Yeah, you could use bind, right? There you go. ES5 way, using bind. Okay. ES6 way, we all know, or hopefully we're getting there. And then we would just do this. on it. And there we go. ES6 way. Okay? So that would be the ES6 way of doing it. Much more nice, concise. You can see everything going on in here, right? Actually, nope, can't do it that way. So let me save this. I'm going to and let's see if this actually might work itself. I know why that didn't work, but okay. Okay, so this would be the ES5 way of doing things. Prototypal inheritance. Oh no. And I'll type up the ES6 way again in a moment. So bind this is actually binding the this to that function. Okay, that's why the bind this is there. You don't have to do this anymore, especially in ES6, especially with React. We used to have to do this for everything in React. We don't have to do it anymore. Let me go back to Poly now. What's the difference between using menu -- open instead of menu dot open? The two hyphens essentially, well, it's a CSS class. That's the name of a class. This is kind of a holdover from we used to teach BEM, B-E-M, and it's kind of a bit of a BEM thing, just stating that the menu is open, and without it would probably just be menu. But that's just a different way of, that's just a class. If you did something like menu dot open, that is going to find a menu and within it with the class of open on it. I guess that would be okay to do, but we're just going with the one class for it. When will we realistically use DOM manipulation versus just changing the JavaScript? DOM manipulation and changing the JavaScript are the same thing. I'm going to need some clarification on that one. Let's see. BEM stands for Block Element Modifier, is what it stands for. You can check it out. It's a little stretch goal to look into it. It's just a naming convention, is all it is. And some companies use it, and some companies don't. And some companies have their own naming conventions. Tween Max is not needed to make any feeds expand. Tween Max is part of the green sock animation. So you don't need to worry about that unless you get to the stretch goals. Any animation library or any animation CSS is up to you in the stretch goals. So no, we're not learning specifically how to use GreenSock or jQuery or CSS animations. If you do get to the stretch goals, there are plenty of ways to look into that. They're really cool stuff. I love GreenSock. I'm not the best at it. Josh, who did that lecture, is one of the best at it. But it's a really, really cool animation library. If animation is up your alley, I'd recommend taking a look at it. All right, let's get more. Cool. I'm finding myself mix matching ES5 and ES6 syntax, depending on what I find most intuitive. Any problems down the road by mixing the two? Nope. I would highly suggest you mix them. ES5, I mean, unless you're talking specifically about the class syntax, I would say stick to one or the other. Other than that, no, you're more than welcome to mix and match. There's a reason that no previous version of JavaScript has ever been deprecated, because there's always going to be ES3 JavaScript that lives on in the world, right? So if you're using ES5 kind of syntax, function, keyword syntax, etc., var, whatever, in ES6, that's totally fine. And you're going to see that when you get into the real world, that's probably more the case than using one or the other specifically. I mean, unless your entire code base was written before ES6, you'd use ES5. Or if you had a very strict no ES6, 7, 8, etc. rule at your company, you'd see most likely a mixture of the two. So that's totally fine to do. All right. That's what I've got for questions right now. Got 5 minutes left. If any of you would like to ask another. I have never used Dart. Nope. All right. How do I like my new place? It's coming along. I'll say that. Not fully unpacked yet, but it's nice to be here. Thanks for asking. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up our Q&A tonight. Any other questions, please feel free to post them in our channel, post them in the help channel, post them in your PM groups channel, DM me, DM your PMs, whatever you need, and we'll make sure to get those answered for you. Other than that, have a great evening. Work on your project. Hopefully, if you get to those stretch goals, you can start playing around with some animation stuff. But other than that, thanks a lot, everyone, and have a great night.